RBOB gas today closing at its lowest level since mid-February before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. For more on where prices are heading from here, let's bring in GasBuddy's Patrick Haan. He's the head of petroleum analysis. Patrick, great to have you back.
Thanks for having me, Melissa.
How bad will things get in Europe?
Well, I think we're the tip of the iceberg here. Long winter awaits us. LNG supplies are still constrained, obviously, because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Oil prices today plummeting on economic concerns. There's just a lot of different factors that are going in to push the market up one day and down the next. But certainly a lot of challenges coming for LNG over the course. Gas prices likely to remain extremely elevated, especially as the temperatures start to get colder.
So how does that, I mean, here in the United States and you know, our audiences, we have a global audience, but mostly in the United States, Patrick. How does that impact the audience at home?
Well, you talk about natural gas prices that continue to flirt with $10 per million BTU. It's going to be an extremely expensive winter, whether in the U.S. in terms of heating your home. I think more Americans may end up going back to an office just to try to save on heating expenses, and you'll see that too in Europe. So again, a very constrained winter of broader energy. And keep in mind that this certainly could pull the price of oil, the price of diesel even higher. We're talking about shortages of power over in Europe, potentially still in China, shortages of coal. So certainly very bullish for the entire energy complex.
And Patrick, it's Tim. It's also very bullish for particularly the U.S. shale producers and that part of the chain, especially as we see as much U.S. nat gas that also can get off of our shores and head over to Europe is going there. Can you talk a little bit about a changing of the guard, or is this a reinvigoration of a trade that over here 5 to 10 years ago was really the place to put a lot of money until a lot of these companies grew too fast, and in fact it was an awful place to be because the balance sheets blew up?
Yeah, look at it at this time. There's a lot more discipline and a lot more challenges with ramping up as quickly. Of course, a lot of this was brought on by COVID-19, then exacerbated by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And to your point, there's just no way that we can bring enough new supply online as quickly as we need it, especially with OPEC and especially with Saudi Arabia that's kind of taking a stance against the Biden administration. So when it comes to natural gas, you know, this is going to be a multi-year elevated pace of prices, and that certainly could carry with it a higher price of oil. Now, when it comes to the gas pump, diesel prices now starting to go back up. Consumers really the only ones starting to see a little bit lower prices at the gasoline pump, but that's certainly going to be offset by high natural gas prices through much of the winter.
So Patrick, in terms of...
Hey, Patrick.
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
Sorry,
Guy.
Mel. No, you go ahead.
All right.
I apologize, Mel. You go ahead.
This is the joys of working remotely. Maybe Guy will come back to the office more often
wow.
if I ask him nicely, and if his gas bill's too high. So I was going to ask Patrick, in terms of the December 5th deadline, in terms of the European ban, how do you sort of factor that in? Is that sort of foregone conclusion in your forecast, or how, you know, in your analysis, where does that stand?
Well, Melissa, it's going to be very, I'll color it this way. I'd be very surprised to see if the EU remains one in terms of unity over the course of the winter. It's going to be something different during the course of those coldest months to see all the countries still going along with this. I think it would be very surprising to see the EU not fracture over the course of the winter when temperatures really start to get cold. So, and keep in mind, this is also going to pull natural gas prices higher in the U.S. Of course, when Freeport reopens their export terminal, I think certainly the sky is the limit when it comes to natural gas, and it probably will remain that way well through winter.
Yeah. Patrick, thank you so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Melissa.
Patrick Haan of GasBuddy. Guy, you know, if we're talking about this sort of energy crisis in the United States, I mean, there would be people in the streets picketing, and it's going on in Europe right now.
It's real what's going on in Europe. I mean, it's tragic, actually, and people have to make decisions, I'm sure, at some point, whether they're going to heat their homes or feed their families. That's not being hyperbolic. That's what's going to happen. With that said, obviously, we're not going to face the same dilemma, thankfully. But what I will tell you is, and maybe I'm being dogmatic, but the supply-demand fundamentals still line up for crude oil and energy to go higher. We've heard it from Halima Croft, Paul Sankey, and a lot of other people. So despite today's move, and again, maybe I'm being a bit too dogmatic in my views, I still think crude goes higher from here.
Yeah, and I guess it really comes down to Tim and Guy have talked about the stocks and how the companies are operating so much better, right, in this environment that they have been in. But when you think about their contribution to S&P earnings and what that has meant this year, you know, we've been waiting for, like, let's say, earnings downgrades to the S&P 500. That hasn't happened yet. So, you know, keeping them buoyed here, I got to mention today's price action in crude, you know what I mean, and the subsequent move in the stocks, I think could be really telling for what we're in for, especially if crude were to have another leg lower before some of this stuff is really apparent about the shortages in Europe in the next couple months.